A difficult topic. You dedicated the book to your mom and dad,
Mhm.
and in particular, you wrote to my father, who died while I was finishing the book. What have you learned about life from your dad?
To show up, to be present, to go to work every day, to love creative things. You know, he was a lawyer, but he was also a jazz musician, and he did both to the best of his abilities, you know, and that to value family as more important than either of those things. You know, he was a present guy, I think, and you know, he loved books, always loved, but loved films, loved music. Wasn't into video games, but liked that we were doing weird things.
Was he proud of you?
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. And he was for a lawyer, he really venerated at some level giving the man the quote unquote the man the finger. Like, you know, whenever life goes crazy,
Yeah.
he just was always on the side of the underdog and the ridiculous. And I think that, you know, he always wanted to answer people back, always give the silly comment. And I certainly, you know, taken that from him to my detriment probably, but it makes life more fun. Like he always would just say the obnoxious thing and just didn't give a fuck. And that was, you know, I think that was probably quite inspiring.
So you have a bit of that in you.
Unfortunately so, yes. Not good at shutting up, not good at towing the line.
I think I speak for most of human civilization that fortunately you have that as part of who you are, because it comes through your stories.
I think it made school difficult. You know, they sent me to this very formal school
Yeah.
that was like, it might as well have been set in the 1870s, in the 1990s. But then they want, you know, I was always getting in trouble just for not for doing anything that wrong, just answering teachers back all of the time. Couldn't be quiet.
How often do you think about mortality? Are you personally yourself afraid of death?
Well, my father passed away in May. So a lot more since then, obviously. I mean, I think about it a lot. Am I afraid of it? I don't know. Some days intensely and some days not at all. I would love to stay alive long enough to see my kids properly grow up and settled, of course, for them. I don't, aside from that, some days I feel, you know, spiritually connected to the universe and not afraid of death at all. And other days I feel like a sort of random piece of good luck who's going to get struck down by an angry fate and turn to nothingness, and that terrifies me. I just
What do you think about the nothingness? I mean, that in itself is terrifying.
yeah, that is terrifying. I mean, I tend to I tend to, you know, I've spent long periods of my life tormented by that stuff. The last few years, I tend to believe there is a purpose and a point to life, and that we have some kind of spiritual or soul-based existence. I'm not quite sure if it matters if there is a God or not. We should probably live our lives the same way either way. But I tend to think that you know, there is a metaphysical purpose to life, and part of that purpose is to, you know, search for the purpose. But at other points, you can get, you know, you read too much science, you get wrapped up in the nothingness of it all.
Also, there's a component to your brain. When talking about Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, you said that you have been, by fortune, struck with a bit of a capacity for the grandiosity of feeling. So you feel the world deeply, sometimes romantic, sometimes overly romantic. You've said, I like this line, feelings may destroy you, but they're the best thing we have. So that ability to feel the world, is that a gift or a curse for you? What do you think?
That's a really interesting question, because it's obviously both. You know, at times it's both, or times it's one or the other. When things are going well, when you feel alive, when you feel like you're connected to things, when you're seeing beauty in people and joy in experiences, of course it's wonderful. When you're feeling like, you know, bereft and set adrift by the world, and that you can't connect it to it in some way, and you're lost and abandoned by God or consciousness or fate or whatever it is, it's awful. When I feel like a dreadful hack, which is most of the time, it's terrible. You'd rather not be doing this rubbish. And then sometimes you're working creatively and it feels good and you feel like you're doing the right thing and it feels fantastic. But that's not very often.
Do you think it's possible to have one without the other?
No,
Yeah.
of course not. When I think about growing up to the extent that I am capable of growing up, it is about accepting the bad with the good from any situation or any aspect of myself, going, okay, it's not perfect. I'm not perfect.
You said you often feel like a hack. Is that self-critical part of your brain? Is that a feature or a bug?
I think it's that new thing that we're going to lean into, the bug feature.
Yeah.
It's both, isn't it? I mean, it cannot lead that self-critical brain. I think lots of people suffer from, and I think the internet is designed to induce. If you didn't have it before, you will have it after being online. It clearly can become a bug, but it also can give you drive and a lack of complacency. So it can also become a feature.
I had a pretty intense argument with Paul Conti, who's a legendary psychiatrist, student of the mind, about this. He worked with many famous creative people, and he he thinks that negative voice is not at all needed for creative genius. And I thought, I know awfully a lot of creative people that have that voice.
I'd rather not have it, but I certainly have lived with it this far. There's a danger that negativity and consciousness become the same thing, and sometimes have to fight to not just be perpetually negative. And that can be part of the human struggle for lots of people, and certainly has been for me. I think if you're trying to do, good stuff and you're reflective inevitably, and you live in this world of constant criticisms by the internet. Of course, everyone who ever puts something on the internet, be it a picture of themselves or any kind of work they've made or whatever it is going to get 50 good comments and one bad comment. And remember the bad comment. So that becomes fuel for the negative voice. I don't know anyone that's strong enough not to. No, we all, at some level you should just measure that stuff in weight, not in quality. But of course, we just focus on the quality.
And I do think in general, as you get older, that's a real challenge for people. You see the different trajectories people choose to take, but it's easy to slip into cynicism and negativity, into this Dostoevsky's Notes from Underground, nihilistic kind of worldview. I think the heroic action to take with time is to become more optimistic, to see more good. I think that there's probably a hero's journey of being extremely self-critical at first, for the first maybe half of your life or 2/3, and then while maintaining some self-critical aspects, just so you stay humble, start to see the good in everything around you, in other people, in the world, and even maybe every once in a while on a weekend in yourself.
I hope so. I mean, that's what I've been. I could not be more cynical. I think you put that beautifully. I could not be more cynical than I was as a child. I could not see goodness anywhere. I couldn't see, I don't think late 1970s to early 1990s England was a place of great, optimism and naivety. It was brutal. And I was brutal within it. And I think I've become much more naive and tried to become more innocent in some ways, and always tried to see the flawed good in people. I've tried to, and I've had to force myself to be like that, because the other way is not fun. It's not nice it's not nice to not be nice.
As a brief aside, you had a wonderful conversation with Ryan McCaffrey at LA Comic-Con. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. He writes amazing stuff at IGN, and he has a great podcast. Everybody should go listen to it. I really enjoyed it. Plus, I got to attend a Comic-Con and just be there in the audience. And like we were saying offline, the LA Comic-Con, it's the first Comic-Con I've been to. There's just all kinds of real, genuine nerds, good-hearted.
Oh, it's fascinating. Yeah, brilliant.
It's just so much kindness and goodness and just simple joy in being a fan of a thing was there.
Yeah, which is what those things are all about.
Yeah.